Looking for these better days.
It is Tuesday, June 23rd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The trade we've all been waiting for finally goes down as Giannis Antetokounmpo has been traded from the Milwaukee Bucks to the Miami Heat. It's also NBA draft night. We'll get into some best bets for that. Mackenzie Rivers joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Mackenzie, I saw Giannis tweet yesterday something cryptic about, like they always do, God's plan, all that stuff.
God's
And
plan.
and I retweeted it. I said, so like, what does this mean, right? Like, what did the Giannis cryptic tweet mean? And obviously it meant that we were going to get the news sooner rather than later. And late last night, we found out that Giannis has been sent to the Miami Heat, one of the teams that we had speculated, and everyone speculated that he was going to play for. What was your reaction when you first saw the news? And now that you've had a little bit of time to think about it, how does it change your outlook on the upcoming NBA season?
I think I love it. I was first like, oh man, the Celtics could have really been like a dynasty-like talent team if they would have got him. But I'm into the new parity league. Like the Knicks, I think are going to be the favorite. The Celtics, their odds must have dropped a lot since they didn't get him and they were expected to.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right there. And the Heat, I really disagree with the take. I mean, Bill Simmons is obviously biased on this because he's a Celtics fan. That the Heat, they won't have enough. I mean, all they'll have is Norman Powell, who played like an all-star much of the last 2 years. Bam Adebayo, who at times maybe slipped off a little last year, was probably right with Giannis or anyone not named Wemby as the best defensive player in the league. If Giannis is back to 100%, that's the front court we've never seen before, maybe since Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon, except much more agile than Ralph Sampson. Both of them are. I think this is a legit team. I haven't seen the odds yet. I think they should be right there with the Knicks as co-favorites, or maybe a little bit behind them. And actually no, because Giannis has been hurt the last couple of years. But here's the thing: people treat NBA players and all athletes like oxen when they evaluate them. They're like, "What have you done for me lately? How many barrels of hay have you moved?" And Michael Wilbon went on like a 2-minute rant about how what has Giannis done lately? He used to be the best player in the world. It's been 5 years and he hasn't done anything. Well, he took like the championship or the Eastern Conference champion Celtics to 7 games. And more importantly, you don't control when you're hurt. He's been one of the top 20 players of all time over the last 5 years. He just hasn't had the talent around him or the health luck to do it when the ad revenue is the most. And I know that's what ESPN and everybody cares about. But I care about basketball. I say it all the time. I don't actually care about the NBA. I care about basketball, the best professional basketball players. And when Giannis was considered the best player in the world, I was a Giannis skeptic. I was like, all right, he can put up points, rebounds, and assists, but he doesn't shoot that well. I don't think he's as good as Kawhi at the time in 2019. I think you need a killer. And the Heat need that, and they're probably going to miss that in the playoffs. But now that everyone's moved like 50 yards the other way, and they're like, is he even a top 5 player? What has he done? He's never healthy. He's been healthy most of his career, and he's been the most versatile player maybe ever in the NBA. Like if Scottie Pippen wasn't terrible on offense, he would look like Giannis Antetokounmpo. He scores 30 points per game, can do anything on defense, is a very good passer, like one of the probably top 10 passers in the league, I think. I think he's going to have a chance to redeem himself now that he has Eric Spoelstra, a great coach, especially on defense, and some more talent around him. I think they're a point guard away, but I think they're going to be real contenders, and I think it makes the league really fun next year.
Well, here are your odds to win the NBA Finals, courtesy of our friends over at FanDuel. The Thunder, your favorite at plus 250. The Spurs, second at plus 260. The Celtics, plus 600. The Knicks, plus 750.
The Celtics dropped because they were like 3-1 last time we talked.
The Knicks, plus 750. And the Miami Heat, 20-1. And I've seen them as short as 18-1 and 17-1 at other books. But yes, love for the Miami Heat. They're the third favorite in the Eastern Conference behind the Celtics and the Knicks, but it's not like they've, jumped over the Celtics and the Knicks to become the favorites just because of Giannis.
I think there are value on the Bucks. At this time last year, I remember at my former company, I was asked this question. I said, who's the value on the board? And it was the Denver Nuggets at 20 to 1. And then
Hmm.
by like October, they were like the second favorite. And a lot of all year, you heard people say, "Is it the Thunder or the Nuggets? Nuggets or Thunder? They're in a
Yep.
tier
Yep.
above everybody." And my thesis was very simple. It wasn't analyzing the trades. It wasn't saying they're going to do this, that in the draft. It was there's not that many potentially greatest players in the world, and Giannis Antetokounmpo was one of them. He has shown it. He put up in 24-25 30, 12, and 7. It's like literally historic numbers. And when you don't have any talent, you don't have any hope, and you're supposed to be traded all summer. Yeah, you might
Hmm.
have a down year when you come back and you don't play as many games, and it's kind of like a throw-in season. But I believe his former coach Doc Rivers that he's ready to take his claim at the mantle of best player in the world. 20 to 1 is a bad price. Expect I would say to win the East is a very bad price because the Knicks were caught lightning in a bottle, but they also lost to a not that great Pacers teams the 2 years prior. They're a Jalen Brunson injury away
Hmm.
from not mattering. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns again, he keeps getting credit. Like everyone's shitting on De'Aaron Fox, and everyone's telling us how great Karl Anthony Towns is and how Jimmy Butler should be mad. He had 2.6 turnovers and 6 fouls in the most important game of his career. He was the guy that we always said. He just also played with Jalen Brunson, who's a legend that will forever live as one of the best pound for pound players of all time. Um, Giannis Antetokounmpo. What was I talking about? Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo is not that. He doesn't have to prove that. He has been on that mantle. 20 to 1 is a bad price. I think the Knicks are vulnerable. I think the Celtics, especially with Jalen Brown being potentially shopped again,
Hmm.
might be some weirdness there. They've lost 4 times as a favorite or 3 times as a favorite with Missoula as the coach. So I think they could lose to anybody. 10 to 1. I'm guessing if it's half or maybe it's a little bit less than that to win the East, is a bad
Plus,
price. I would take it.
it's plus 600 to win the East. Celtics plus
Okay.
225, Knicks plus 300, Heat plus 600. Now, the
Yeah.
awards markets aren't out yet, but I kind of want to bet Giannis to win the MVP.
I think you're right. Two-time winner.
Yep.
And he is really in a position where he's going to have to do less as a free safety on defense with Bam there.
Hmm.
And they need points. They're going to need a lot of scoring. And he's their best offensive option still, which was kind of the problem in Milwaukee. But they won a championship because they had enough defense around him. They had Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis, by the way, who's making the trip down to Miami. They're not that bad of a squad of outside of their top talent. I think Eric Spoelstra's caught made a lot of people all stars that weren't there before. Tyler Hero, Max Strus got $50 million. I think
Hmm.
they can make a lot of so players look really good in Miami now that they have the defense figured out.
Yeah. We're going to wait and see how the rest of the Eastern Conference plays out. You mentioned maybe Jalen Brown could be on the move. We'll see if the Celtics, in fact, do trade Jalen Brown in the wake of losing out on Giannis. Maybe they focus their attention somewhere else. Cough, cough, Kawhi Leonard. I don't know. So let's see what the Celtics do
By the
here.
way, I asked ChatGPT before about a week ago. How else could Miami get talent? And it pulled up some articles about Kawhi Leonard going to Miami after they trade for Giannis. Maybe they
Really?
send Norman
Okay.
Powell back. Yeah, so it is on some bloggers' radar out
Well,
there.
it could be a three-way deal. That's what I heard. I heard three-team deal involving the Clippers. So that Jalen Brown going to the Clippers, Giannis to the Celtics,
Yeah,
Kawhi.
take the more
Yeah,
I think about it, take the Heat now at 20 to 1, take them at 6 to 1. I don't give gambling advice, but I just think those are bad odds. There's so many levers they
yeah.
can pull between now and the trade deadline in February, where they're going to be as talented as anybody in the East.
Let me get your take on another move that went down yesterday. Three-team deal. The Wolves trading Julius Randle to the Nets, and let's see, it was Nick Claxton goes to the Bulls. So the Wolves get some draft help or whatever. But what do you think about the Nets bringing in Julius Randle?
They should move to Las Vegas. They are a joke of a franchise.
Yeah.
Julius Randle, I mean, he kind of had 1 year that took him out of the doldrums, but for a long part of his career and last year in the playoffs, looked like maybe the worst regular season to playoff drop off player of all time. Like he goes from 50% shooting to 40%
Yeah.
shooting, goes from 22 points to 15 points. He's not built for good defenses, and there's a lot of bad defenses that the Nets will play, and maybe he'll put up some points, but they've never built any kind of winner since Giannis won the championship and the Nets were the best team that year. But
Hmm.
Kyrie and Harden got hurt. But everyone gave
And
them so
Durant's
much
foot was on the
credit.
line.
And Durant's foot was on the line. He needed a smaller shoe. Still, even with those injuries, so they were the best team
Yep.
When people say, "Oh, that experiment didn't work," I'm like, they were the best team, should have won the championship. But anyway, the Nets got so much credit for trading Durant and their package. They got so much credit. Every single blogger and podcaster was like, "There's so 4 first round picks. What a steal!" And they've resulted in absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Absolutely zero interest, zero value. I mean, you're from New York. When's the last time you had a Nets conversation? It's just a joke of a franchise.
When Jay-Z still owned part of them.
Right, and then he sold out like everyone
Exactly.
should in New York.
Yep.
They're a joke of a franchise, and Julius Randle's kind of the cherry on the sundae for their lack of actually trying to win.
The other big news yesterday in the NBA, Mackenzie, Michigan head coach Dusty May now going to be the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. So making the jump from national champion in college basketball to the NBA at 49 years old. Do we expect good things from the Dallas Mavericks and Dusty May this year?
So Cooper Flag in his second year. Um, I mean, they're in the wrong conference to make noise at this point in their journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the gamble. I think the UConn coach should have made the move. I mean, you can't win the championship every year in college, so I like that. Larry Brown before him, who I think is the greatest coach of all time. I think the X's and O's and the leadership needed in college can translate in the NBA.
Well, especially now in the NIL era that we live in college sports, where it really is just treated like the NBA, where it's free agency and whatnot. So I think it's
Yep,
easier to
putting
make
it
the
together.
transition now than it is for some of the lifers. Like Patino never worked in the NBA because he's good. He's a leader of men in college, right? But when these guys are making millions, the act wears off, right? They're not threatened by him and whatnot. But I think that this era is kind of different now. So, hey, Dusty
Sure.
Man, we'll see what he does here for the Dallas Mavericks. All right, NBA draft is tonight. AJ Debanza is the overwhelming favorite to be the number one overall pick up on FanDuel, minus 750 for Debanza to go number one overall to the Wizards. Hey, Mackenzie, remember when we were giving him out at like plus 150 and plus 170, talking about how we didn't like Darren Peterson missing all those games at Kansas?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Correct, sir. Looking
What,
good. Well, I guess we don't know it's correct till they read the name.
Yeah,
But
exactly. We don't know. I said yesterday though, maybe there's value on sprinkling on Debanza to be the second overall pick, like because we just don't. I know all the rumors and whatnot, but I mean, we've been shocked before, right? Like,
Jabari Smith, was it Jabari Smith? Yeah, was minus 3,000 at one point when Paolo Banchero ended up being the
yeah,
number one pick. So it
yes,
happens.
yeah, we've been shocked before, and maybe it is Darren Peterson at number one. You can get Debanza at plus
Yep.
650 to be the number two overall pick. And then, your favorite to go two is Peterson. Your favorite to go three is Cameron Boozer. Your favorite to go fourth is Caleb Wilson. Fifth, Kalen Vogler, and so on and so forth. I think what's going to be interesting is with the selection. I mentioned Dusty May as the new head basketball coach for the Dallas Mavericks. You look at the Mavericks, who have the ninth overall pick in the draft. And let's see, the favorite to be the ninth overall pick right now is Braden Burries from Arizona. But you got Adai Mara, the big man from Michigan, Yaxa Lendeborg, the other big man from Michigan that are projected to be on the board there at number 9. Maybe Dusty May drafts one of his Michigan guys. You can get Mara at plus 425, Lendeborg plus 650.
I think that I wish I knew the odds beforehand because maybe they move drastically, but
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense to not have to take a guy from zero to where you want him to go
Yeah.
as a coach. So we've seen, yeah,
I'd sprinkle on
I
I'd
would think
sprinkle on
those are
both
some odds.
those. If I'm being
Yeah,
I'll sprinkle on
those are
both of
some
those.
chances.
Yeah, I'll sprinkle on both of those, and maybe it's you don't do the number 9 pick, but maybe you find the market that has a to be drafted by
Yeah,
team
I like that because you
because
can always
like
trade down. Yeah.
exactly, what if Dallas trades like from number 9 to number 11? Like they move down 2 spots to take Lendeborg because they know he'll still be on the board. So maybe that's a better way to get at the NBA draft market.
One,
All right,
one, one
Mackenzie.
more one more draft take.
Yep.
It just irked me listening to a podcast this morning. Bill Simmons thought it was a terrible trade for the Warriors to trade the 11th pick for Anthony Davis, and he's like he's never healthy. You only have to be healthy once in the playoffs. Anthony Davis is like top 5 all time in
Yep.
playoff efficiency. The fact that they would just let Steph Curry be like, all right, well, maybe this guy's going to be good in a couple years. They had Wilt Chamberlain. 50 years later, they had Steph Curry. You got to make the most of that window. I thought that was a terrible take. I would trade the 11th pick. I would trade the 7th pick for Anthony Davis. It's a joke to think these players, these lottery tickets, are going to be that good. Yeah, Shea was 12. It happens. But most 12s, look them up, are not great. And Anthony Davis is, even if he's not healthy half the time.
Well, Wizards just locked up Trey Young on a sizable deal, so possibly more willing to part ways with Anthony Davis there, and also having the number one overall pick is certainly a big help there. All right, Mackenzie, great stuff on the NBA. We got World Cup stuff to talk about. As yesterday, man, everybody cashed their tickets.
The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every goal changes everything. And now, FanDuel is giving you a reason to root for every single one. Introducing Every Goal Pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. That's right, more goals means more bonus bets, and all you have to do is turn on your token. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/believe to get started now. 21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DC, Kentucky, and Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY New York. Call 1-877-770-7867 in Louisiana.
At the World Cup, everybody cashing tickets yesterday as for the second time in the World Cup schedule with the stars aligning, they come through with the anytime goal scoring parlay. And this time they all scored twice and led to big cash outs across various sports books. Argentina with a 2-0 victory over Austria, where Leo Messi scored twice. France a 3-0 victory over Iraq. Kylian Mbappe scored twice. And Norway a 3-2 win over Senegal, where Erling Haaland scored twice. And my Twitter timeline, I'm sure yours was as well, flooded with all the betting tickets, everybody cashing their anytime goal scoring parlays, but not just the anytime goal scoring parlays with the 3 stars, the 2+ goals for all 3 guys. I mean, I saw some absurd tickets out there. I even know a couple of our Better Day Insider and Premium members cashed on some of these parlays. So I want to shout out to everybody for that put that in. A couple of our members sent their tickets in our Better Day community chat, and they were just sprinkles, but the sprinkles paid off big time for our members. We went 2-0 yesterday at the World Cup. We did cash the Kylian Mbappe goal prop, and we also cashed the Argentina game team total over 1.5 goals. Team totals have been really profitable here during this World Cup, and it's something that I'm going to continue to do. I mean, I know the draw has been obviously the most profitable ticket going on in this World Cup, but really the team totals have been something that I've been focused on, and it has been a very, very profitable measure for us. Also backing the teams that had the disappointing results in their first match to bounce back in their second match. And that's what we have here on deck for your World Cup schedule here on Tuesday, as Portugal, coming off of a draw in their first match, will take on Uzbekistan up on FanDuel. Portugal minus 650, Uzbekistan plus 1,700, the draw plus 650. England takes on Ghana. England minus 550, Ghana plus 1,400, the draw plus 550. Panama against Croatia. Panama plus 600, Croatia your minus 210 favorite, and the draw plus 320. And Colombia takes on Congo. Colombia minus 190, Congo plus 550, the draw plus 300. Let's also throw a congratulations out there to the Oklahoma Sooners, winners of the College World Series National Championship. Game 3 yesterday, they took it from North Carolina. We talked about it with Jake Hassan. He gave out Oklahoma, and we rode that ticket. They were a plus money dog. They win 13-2 as they power their way to their second national title in baseball. So congratulations to all those who tailed and cashed with us on the Oklahoma Sooners in yesterday's game number 3. From college baseball to Major League Baseball, where Colby Marchio gives his take on what went down this weekend.
What's going on, everybody? Colby Marshall here for your quick 5 minutes of MLB chatter. I have a question of the day to start the week, and I don't know the answer of it because I'm not in love with the idea of this, but I do think it's at least something worth discussing. After the weekend Kyle Schwarber had, he now has 29 home runs, had 25, I believe, on Friday, so he had 4 this past weekend, and he's on an absolute tear. Is he worth dabbling in the NL MVP market? Super, super duper side note, Jake Hassan and I gave out Hunter Goodman to lead the league in home runs on Friday at, I believe, 25 to 1. And that looks fantastic right now. Awful CLV. But with Schwarber being a DH, what does he have to do in order to at least surpass or get closer in the odds market with Shohei Ohtani, who's currently minus, it's not even worth mentioning. He's still behind Soto for some reason. I mean, I would put Schwarber above Soto at this point in time. 35 to 1's a massive number, but it's probably the right price. He doesn't do anything outside of hit. Meanwhile, Shohei Ohtani does everything under the sun, is in the NL Cy Young discussion right now. I personally don't think he's going to win it, but his window is we said it last year. I think Jake and I said last year was his window. And it looks like this is probably going to be it. At least for their championship window, I think the Phillies are 100% done. I don't care about the hype up them right now. Sure, Donnie Baseball has done a fantastic job turning them around after them looking like a complete hot turd in the beginning of the season. But I'm sure somebody out there will say this is good value, and I wouldn't fight them on it. I'm not advocating for people to go out and bet it. I just think it's a conversation worth having because what would what would Schwarber have to do in order to win NL Cy Young? And he'd probably have to hit 65 plus home runs. Excuse me, but it's probably it. He would probably have to lead them to winning the division and having a ton of home runs. So I don't think he's going to have a chance unless he becomes God in the second half. I mean, 29 home runs before, or possibly 30 home runs before July is awesome. It's awesome. He might have 35 before the All-Star break, but I'm not rushing out to get it. I think the price is intriguing, but I think that's the most interesting thing that happened this past weekend. In other news, Kyle Teal is all the way back for the White Sox at the time of this recording of Monday evening. He is making his first start of the season. Jake Hassan and I were very concerned about his legs because of the training he went through this past off season that kind of tweaked up his knees. And I hope nothing for the best for this kid. And the Italian White Sox are fully complete. That team is all Italian. That is all pasta, gabagool, and all the above. But I do want to talk about them for a brief second, that they're human. Bad week in the Bronx, bad week overall. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, Mooney's coming back soon. Oh, God forbid they fall off after taking down the NL's best, that being the Braves and the Dodgers. They beat the Dodgers for the first time since 2014. I was a senior in high school, or actually I was going to be a senior because it'd be in the fall. I graduated 2015. It's going to be cool to see. And regardless if anyone's got ill will towards the White Sox, they're not in a championship window right now. Just the turnaround itself and the culture development has been impressive as it is. As in terms of bets for Tuesday, I will have more the day of Tuesday. I have none at the moment, no leans and whatnot. I just got done finishing Monday's bets. But those are all the interesting things that I saw this past weekend, and I think you guys as well will enjoy them. Please let me know on Twitter/X. It's always Twitter. Colby M. Betts. Let me know if you think it's worth dabbling on Kyle Schwarber right now to win NL MVP. That's all I got right now. Make sure you check the MLB Game Center over at Better Day and have yourself a better day.
All right, good stuff, Colby. Thanks so much for your insight here on the Kyle Schwarber stuff, the Phillies as well. Wanted to just highlight a couple of matchups for tonight here in Major League Baseball. The Mets and Cubs were rained out yesterday, so they will play here tonight. Shota Imanaga, though, was scheduled to go yesterday. He is not. The announced pitcher, at least as of right now, looking at FanDuel, it is Edward Cabrera, scheduled to get the start for the Chicago Cubs. Kodai Senga, who was supposed to pitch yesterday, it looks like he will pitch tonight for the New York Mets. Currently up on FanDuel, the Mets, a short -120 favorite. And Shane Bieber will make his 2026 season debut for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight against the Houston Astros. Toronto up on FanDuel, -142 favorite. Looks like Peter Lambert on the bump for the Houston Astros. The big question is, how long will Shane Bieber go into this game? How long is the leash? He did get roughed up in his last rehab start, so he really hasn't looked dominant in his rehab starts. So how long is the leash for Shane Bieber? We'll be on the lookout for some props probably in this matchup. Be sure to follow us across all your social media channels. Stay locked in to everything we have going on up on betterday.com. For Colby Marchio, Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
You can never have too many tools. Shop DeWalt deals at Lowe's. Get a free Select DeWalt 20-Volt Max Power Tool when you buy a Select 20-Volt Max 5-amp-hour battery kit. Plus, get a free additional DeWalt 20-Volt Max 8-amp-hour battery when you buy a DeWalt 10-inch 20-Volt Max dual-bevel compounded miter saw. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/24 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.